Florida homeowners, it's not a question of if, but when the next hurricane will come. No matter what Florida weather has in store, StormSmart has products that protect every opening of your home while improving the look, feel, and function. From durable aluminum shutters, high-impact windows and doors, to our innovative storm catcher screens, products that enhance the beauty of your home and keep your family safe. Because smart is complete hurricane protection, and smart is peace of mind. Call StormSmart today for your free in-home consultation.
When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the ABC Action Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by StormSmart. Protect every opening of your home. And by Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
How you doing, everybody? It is Tuesday night, and welcome to Dennis Phillips Live. We are on so many different platforms. We are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on our streaming app, we're on Spectrum Channel 17, Frontier 23, and still working. A lot of questions. People have still been asking, a lot about YouTube TV and some other sources out there. I think we're going to have the official notification of where we're finally on everywhere coming up in the next few weeks, because it's all part of the negotiations, because we are the official broadcast home of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So if you're watching on the spot, 66.1 OTA, if you wonder what that OTA, it just means your antenna. So if you have those, you have an antenna, it isn't like the old days where you can put them up on your roof. You don't have to have rabbit ears or anything. It's merely, you can go to Walmart or Amazon or whatever and buy one of those little circular antennas, pop it up, hook it into your TV, and you'll look on the little source. It'll say scan or antenna. Click it, and all the channels that are out there, and there's lots of them, they're all free. Now, they're not cable channels. They're all local channels, and you'll be able to watch. So what a lot of folks do is they watch DPL on their TV so they can see the graphics bigger, and yet they still follow on their phone or on the computer, because that way they can ask questions. So tonight, we're going to do a lot of Q&A. We're going to do a lot of analysis of the tropics, because there has been a ton of buzz, and with good reason. I mean, we are now in that time of the year. So I'm going to crack open my Diet Dr. Pepper. I got it ready. Let's see who we have here. And we will start jumping into what is out there. And there's two areas that are being shown by the NHC, and then there's two other areas that may end up being shown by the NHC if the models are right. So as always, again, if you have questions, the way for you to be involved with the Q&A is on my Facebook page. I see your questions on here. Gary from Winter Haven, how you doing? St. Pete's in the house with Mary Ellen. Bradenton with Janie. Zephyr Hills, Debbie. Jamil, how you doing? From Trinidad. So nice to see you. Carol's in the house. Land O'Lakes with Shelley. Northport checking in with Monica. Seminole, Pamela, Sebring, Carol. South Tampa's in the house with Anders. So lots and lots of folks. So, and Melbourne's in the house as well, where actually Melbourne, East Coast, is picking up some pretty decent thunderstorms. Yes, I do have the new blue hoodie. And I will tell you guys, and you know what, I can show it to you anyway. So last night, I bought 7 new hoodies, and I buy them as well because the proceeds benefit Children's Miracle Network, Feeding Tampa Bay, and whatnot. So if you go to the top of my Facebook page, you'll see all the different hoodies. I bought USF colors, FSU colors, the Gators, UCF, the Rays, the Bucks. Pretty much everything we sell, I bought one of each with different colors. So they're all going to come in. Because, I mean, my thought is, look, if I'm on the air 5 days a week and we're doing some TV, I at least need a little bit of variety. But again, you can find them on my Facebook page. You click it right here. That's the site. And you can kind of see all the stuff, and a lot of the proceeds, well, all the proceeds benefit the local charities. You know, several other ones that what I said as well we've been doing over the years. So there you go. Our family's big into that. And you got, I ordered this one too. I ordered this Gator one. So yeah, so that's going to be exciting. All right, so let's go ahead and give you a brief little overview about what's going on. And then we'll get into the model data coming up in a little bit. Oh, we got Lori from the UP of Michigan. For you folks not from up there, that would be the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Carol and Ann in Trinity's here as well. So yeah, we got lots of folks here. Look, with good reason. When the tropics start to pick up, we start to see a significantly higher number of people who are watching DPL and hopefully watching on TV as well. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you guys an overview. We're going to talk about models in the next segment, and then our heat lightning round will be all Q&A. So if you have questions about vacations, about cruises, about plans, hang on to those, and maybe by then I will have answered them anyway. So, but yeah, I see all the folks here with where they're from. Tammy in Plant City, and Michelle in Apollo Beach. Maureen Ryan did not get to sing in the national anthem because the game got rained out, but it was rescheduled for Wednesday, September 3rd, I think is that Wednesday. Is it the 3rd or the 2nd? So she is going to be singing the national anthem. Thanks for asking. She was very, very excited. So here's a look at the tropics. Now, by the way, the new numbers come out shortly. The Hurricane Center issues these outlooks every 6 hours, 2 a.m. and p.m., 8 a.m. and p.m. So we're coming up on the new one. You see those two orange areas. Let's actually see if the new one has actually come out yet. I don't think it has. Yes, it has actually. And they are identical. Identical. If you know, you know. If you watch My Cousin Vinny, which we quote that show quite often on this show, but identical when he's talking about the tire tracks. You cannot turn on the TV at 2 a.m. and not see My Cousin Vinny. It's on every night. That one and The Water Boy. Those are my two favorites. Anyway, looking at the 8 o'clock advisory, they are exactly the same. As a matter of fact, I will go ahead and read to you quickly what the Hurricane Center is saying. Off the southeastern U.S., a weak surface trough located several hundred miles off the coast of the southeastern U.S. is producing scattered showers and thunderstorms. An area of low pressure is expected to develop from the system over the next day or so, and environmental conditions appear generally favorable for additional development. A tropical depression could form by the latter portion of this week or this weekend as the low starts moving west. Again, it is not going to impact Florida directly, but I do think we get some rain out of it. That is the area on the top left. Now, the big orange blob, the one you see there in the middle, that is a tropical wave over the far eastern tropical Atlantic. It's currently producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are forecast to be conducive for gradual development during the next few days. And a tropical depression could form late this week or over the weekend as the system moves generally west-northwest across the central, tropical, or subtropical Atlantic. So those are the two areas that we are monitoring, all right? Neither of those at this point pose a major threat to areas, but the threat is not zero. Wanda, thank you for the stars. All stars go to Children's Miracle Network as well. So the smaller area, the one that has the 10 and 40, that likely will develop into a weak depression. It's going to be a rainmaker either way for the Carolinas. And eventually, it could enhance our rain potential here. Now, I want to show you something. There's another area that's south of that. I'm going to go ahead and show you that one here. So you see the area of cloudiness that is just below the 10 and the 40 right there? That, I believe, will go across the state later this week. It's a mid-level feature, and that's going to enhance our moisture and increase our rain chances. But here's the bottom line for the big orange blob, all right? It's one of two scenarios play out, and I will show you that in a couple of minutes on the models. Stronger tropical systems are drawn more toward the north. They are drawn more poleward, okay? So not always, we always say, you never say never in weather, and you don't always say always because it never works that way, but the stronger low pressure is, the more likely it is drawn north toward the poles. So the stronger that bigger orange blob gets, the more likely it goes into the open waters of the Atlantic and doesn't impact anybody. But if it were to stay weaker, and certainly drier air could have a role in that, and we'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes as well. If it stays in the drier air and stays weaker, it would go more toward the west. It would be more impacted by the low-level winds, okay? There's a lot of other reasons that come into play. High pressure off to the north could actually split as a jet digs down and allows that low to shoot the gap, if you will, and go north into the Atlantic. But if it's more impacted by low-level winds, prevailing winds, and it stays west, then there's the potential it could develop down the road. And that's what some of the models are showing, all right? So those are the two areas that we are looking at. There's two other areas that are not showing here that we're also keeping an eye on. And I think eventually the Hurricane Center will highlight those areas. We will talk about that. We will show you the models, and we'll start to answer those questions as DPL continues. Okay, so we are in our first commercial break. David, thank you for the break cue. I appreciate it. So we are going to go ahead and go to the next map here, and we're going to be talking some dry air. And then at that point, my break count, Anna Maria, most of the time I forget my band button. I am not good at keeping track of things. My wallet, my phone, all of the above. I'm just terrible at it. I'm the first to admit it. I did catch a cold on the, I always get sick when I fly. Always get sick when I fly. It's every single time. What are you gonna do? Joseph in the ATL. How you doing, Joseph? Ann in Ormond Beach. Good to see you. Marie in Port Richey. Good to see you as well. All right. So we're going to talk about dry air when we come back out of the break. And I'll show you guys a couple of maps that you probably have seen for the folks here, but maybe the TV folks have not. And then we'll also start showing some model data, including the Euro AI. Okay. We are back in 5 seconds. 3, 2. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to DPL on broadcast on the spot, Tampa Bay 66. What we are looking at right here is Saharan dust, something I think a lot of folks are familiar with. Usually it's our savior in June and July because it squashes the potential for tropical systems, because obviously if the air is very dry, you're not going to get a lot of tropical development. It takes a while for any tropical wave or any moisture source to kind of overcome all that dry air. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take a closer look at it. So, and by the way, someone mentioned on TV, if you're not following on Facebook, I get sick. I was on vacation last week, and I always get sick when I fly. Every single time I get sick. So that's what you're hearing. It is not the Saharan dust that's bothering me. So what are you looking at here? So Saharan dust, notice it does start to thin out as we go into August, and it also starts to recede. Thinning and receding, two really terrible words for most men in general. But the dry air does begin to recede, the dust begins to thin, and then all of a sudden you have an area where you have a much higher likelihood of development. So obviously, you know, the numbers that NOAA predicted are probably going to be right on the money. We have checked off another name off the list of tropical cyclone names. And by the way, some people say, what's a tropical cyclone? Oh, those weather guys are just trying to scare us. It's why don't you just call it what it is? It's a cyclone. A cyclone is an area of low pressure. A tropical cyclone is a tropical area of low pressure. It's just a fancy way of saying a tropical storm, or, okay, all tropical depressions and tropical storms and hurricanes are tropical cyclones. Not all tropical cyclones are hurricanes. I don't know which property. I used to know what is that, the distributive or the dissociative or what. You know what I'm saying. The point is, it's just a fancy way of saying an area of low pressure. All right, so there are the names that we have gone through. Are we looking at Aaron? Or are we looking at Ferdinand? Or are we looking at Gabrielle? I think we all know the eye storms have been an eyesore for us over the last couple of decades, including Irma and Ian and Adalia. But how are we looking in terms of these particular storms? All right, well, we're going to look at the ensembles. All right, so what this is this is the Euro AI ensemble. Now, for the folks who don't know, and if you've been watching for a while, you do know, but if you haven't, you don't, so I'm going to tell you. Here's what the whole AI thing is, and it's a philosophy that I agree with completely, because it's one that's used very often for long-range forecasting in terms of analogs. So what has happened is Google and the Euro and other models, they have decided to use AI in trying to hone in the forecast and more accurate. Now, how are they doing that? They are taking decades of data. Go with me on this. Decades and decades and decades of data, and they throw it in the computer, all right? So it's in there. So then they take the current state of the atmosphere, and then the AI compares the current state of the atmosphere to another point in time that was extremely close or very similar to what it is now. And you get where I'm going with this. So then it takes the next 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 30 days out and tries to find a time period that is comparable. So if it happened this way back then, maybe it'll happen this way now. That's the philosophy of using AI. So it still takes the data that's used for the models and then incorporates AI to look at tens of thousands of other times and tries to find something that's the same. To me, it makes a lot of sense. Last year, it was absolutely awesome. It was very accurate. I will be honest, this year, the Euro AI has not been very good. At least the ones that crossed the state of Florida. Remember we had all those waves that crossed Florida and the model, the AI was turning it into a depression or a storm? Never happened. So here's the Euro AI ensembles. And all this is a look of about 50 different model runs, tweaking some of the parameters of the model, and coming up with a solution. This is 3 days out. But I want you to look at, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I want you to see, first of all, two things. One, remember that third area I said that might develop? Well, that's what the Euro AI is showing. Potentially a weak little system developing in the Gulf later this weekend. That is one thing that the NHC is not looking at, has not shown it, but the models are hinting at that. So there's one, all right? But then we go 5 days out, 6 days out. And again, you've got that thing out in the Gulf, which is really not going to be a big deal. But what you want to turn your attention to is right down here, okay? This is 9 days out, and this is what the Euro AI is showing. Now, there is some consensus. There is some consensus up to this, and this is 10, 11 days out. And guys, you know what my thoughts are on long-range forecast. But but that's in terms of an operational run. I'm showing you an ensemble, which is quite a few different runs, like 50 different runs, to give you maybe a little more realistic view of what the models are thinking. And what they are thinking is there's absolutely no agreement. This goes anywhere from Belize to a fish storm. But what it is showing is potential development. And the red lines are Cat 3 hurricanes, 2 or 3s. And there's lots of red lines here. See them all? Lots of them. So the Euro AI is trying to develop a system. Where it goes 10 to 14 days out, who knows, but it is trying to develop. And I will show you, since this is a weather chat, I will show you the operational run on it as well. This is not one that you should consider as, this is the average, if you will, of all the other ones. And if, as you would expect, look, if you looked at this one, you're like, where would the average probably be? Somewhere near Florida. And that's exactly what the operational run tries to do. I mean, it does bring a weak system, develops it over Cuba, and then turns it into a minimal hurricane on the east coast of Florida around the 15th, 16th. And then at the same time, it also, now this is the GFS, but the Euro AI is actually delaying it a little bit. There's the area right there. This is the 15th, 16th, 17th. You see what it's doing, and then it turns into something near Cuba. That by no means is a forecast, but it certainly is a possibility. And when you look at the Euro AI ensembles, which shows 50 different possibilities, you kind of look at this and say, all right, well, if this is all the opportunity where it's going to be, the middle is about here, and that's exactly what the Euro AI is showing. But that is just one possibility. That's all it is. Now, as I said, it hasn't been tremendously accurate so far this year, so we'll see how it goes with this one. But we have the GFS. We have other models that are also showing a similar setup. And we'll talk about that and then answer your questions as DPL continues. I am so late in these breaks. Carrie's like, look, break, exclamation, exclamation. I know. I am so late on these breaks. I need to look at your comments more, guys. Jared, thank you very much. Because I'm going heavy every single time. It's what I'm doing. It's, yeah, see, Charlotte's like, 7:47, need a break soon. You're right, Charlotte. You are right. So this is going to have to be a really, well, this one I'll just go ahead and show the GFS. I'll show the Euro, actually the regular Euro and the GFS. Okay. We are back in 50 seconds. Renee in Clearwater, how you doing? Good to see you. Marianne, good to see you as always. And Erica Lynn, good to see you. Is it going to hit Florida, Gage? Well, that's the big question, isn't it? The odds are certainly against it. The odds are certainly against it. But is it possible? Yes, it is possible. All right, so we are in our last 20 seconds. I know, gosh, guys, I do. This is going to have to be such a quick break. Oh. Holy cow, I went like 12 minutes in that segment, and I was supposed to go 6. Yikes. Okay, we're into 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. All right, guys, man, I got a long-winded shocker. Something I do, either answering questions or seeing all this stuff. But yeah, my last segment was supposed to be 6 minutes. It was 12. So this is going to be quick. So let's just jump right into it. And enough of this tomfoolery and nonsense and shenanigans. Okay, so there is a look at the European. This is not the AI. This is the Euro ensembles. And they show a very similar thing. Here's what we're looking at. The first one, the orange one that we're showing you, that is on there now, brings it up this way, okay? There is still a possibility, although slim, of a little something else developing in the Gulf over the next 7 days thereafter. You've got the one in the Carolinas that is also right there. Never really does anything with it. Like, you can see it just kind of there. But looking long range, again, the Euro is showing a similar setup to what the AI is, which is anywhere from Belize, in that general corridor. So yeah, that's something Florida is going to have to keep an eye on. Do I think we're going to get hit by a hurricane? No. I think, is it a possibility? Yes. But it's also 2 weeks out. So my point is, look, it's nothing to worry about. The odds are overwhelmingly against anything impacting us directly, but they aren't zero. So when you look at the GFS, all right, hashtag cha-ching, if you know, you know. So you look at the GFS, and this is Friday, this is Saturday, this is Sunday. You got a little area of low pressure developing. That's the orange one that the Hurricane Center is talking about. So it keeps it weak. Remember, I said there were two opportunities. If it's strong, it goes north. If it's weak, it goes west. And the GFS keeps it weak until it gets near Cuba, and then it does develop a little something into maybe a tropical storm. So that would be on the 16th. And then you've got the other area back behind, which actually has a curve into the Atlantic. So bottom line, the GFS is showing two systems, both potentially impacting somebody in the U.S., okay? But let me be very clear about this. Am I worried about it? No. It's a big ocean, guys. It's a huge ocean. And the odds of any particular storm impacting where you are directly is, at least in the U.S., easily less than 10% on any given storm. The islands, Puerto Rico, maybe a little bit higher in those, but for us, typically very low. Again, I was so long-winded in the first one. I got to go to my final break, and then I'll finish up answering your questions with our heat lightning round. Back in 90. Yeah, I got to pace myself better. So let us see. Matt, I do give shout-outs to people in stars, but sometimes I don't see them because I'm not looking at this computer. I'm looking over here all the time. And again, all stars go to Children's Miracle Network. So Nana, thank you very much. Very kind. All right, so let's go ahead and just start doing questions, and I can catch up with the TV people when they get back on. So go ahead and bring your questions. And of course, we have the obligatory heat lightning. Always there is. But again, at the end of the day, guys, we're going to get you a big hourglass. I need an hourglass. I need something. It's crazy. Because I don't have a producer yell into my ear like I usually do, which I may be ignoring them anyway, but they are there. Okay, should we be stocking up? No, Eric, stocking up should not be ready. But you should have your hurricane supplies. And we talk about that often. I mean, look, it's go time, guys. It's go time. From now until the end of October, we are in the peak of hurricane season, right? We all know that. So now's the time you should be ready. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and call up that graphic. Okay, so we are back on our last couple of minutes on broadcast. You know, normally I have a producer in my ear giving me time cues. Everything is here. You guys are my producers. Literally, people giving me time cues are my producers. But look, here's the bottom line. We are in go time. This is what September looks like. And notice the majority of the storms that form, I say it's a big ocean, the majority of the storms that form stay offshore. So just because we're talking tropics does not mean there is anything close to an imminent threat to anybody. But look, it's our job to go ahead and keep an eye on it and keep track of them. So that red color is 70-plus named storms in the last 100 years, and those have remained all offshore. Cindy wants to know if I think it's going to be a rainy weekend coming up. I do think we are going to have higher coverage of rain starting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but it will not rain all the time. It simply won't, okay? I do think that Penn State, Matt, oh, yes, we are. So the bottom line is we have two areas that we're watching, two more that the Hurricane Center has not addressed yet. The last one, the one that's about to come off of Africa in the next day or two, is the one that will likely take a more southerly track and potentially develop into more of a threatening storm. Whether it's the islands, whether it's Central America, whether it's the U.S., it's just too early to tell. But bottom line, guys, look, you know it's the time of the year. You got to keep an eye on it. So keep it right here. We'll be updating 24/7 as always. Greg and Jason and Shay and Allie, we're always here for you. And we'll be here every single night giving you updates, answering your questions. I'm going to continue answering questions on Facebook now. Folks watching on DPL on the spot, have a great night. So they are gone. Thank you, Matt. Again, appreciate it. So let's just go ahead. All right, let's go back. Chase wants to see the graphic on August. All right, so let's go back and actually just go month by month for you. All right, I'll give you a better idea. So let's go ahead and take that graph full. No arc alert. I agree, Stan. I do not believe we will need an arc alert. But I do think there's going to be some areas with some moderate to heavy rain. It does go so fast, Jules. The commercial breaks really make it go so fast. Okay, so there is a look at July. Let's look at August. Here is traditionally where development occurs in the month of August. All right? Notice the area in red. It's offshore. Notice the area in orange. Outside of the Carolinas, Outer Banks, it's offshore. And some of the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico. So things are shaping up as they should historically. You've got a potential Carolina system later this week in the Outer Banks. That's an area that can get hit and has been hit often. But most of the activity stays offshore. Joy needs to know info on weather from the 9th to the 17th. Joy, where exactly are you where are you worried about? Where are you looking? But here is September. Yes, Ingrid, I can. So this is where you can get this is where you can get the show, okay? I'll go ahead and have this double box on this one here. Plant City, Lynn, how you doing? Okay. Look at September. The overwhelming majority of the storms have stayed offshore. So when there is a landfalling hurricane, and we all know we get them, we had 3 last year, 2 in our area directly, the odds are still higher that they will go elsewhere or stay in the ocean. We're prepared. We tell you guys a week, if not 2 weeks in advance, to kind of keep an eye on something. But the overall threat is always very, very low. So when you go on the sites that post that worst case scenario 12 days out, which, you know what, and here's the thing, I would respect those sites more if they came out, if they want to come out and say, look, we told you 12 days ago, I'm all for that. If you're also going to say the 95% of the other time when you say, well, we told you it was going to be this way, but it was wrong. Of course, that's never going to happen. But that's why posting those, cherry picking those worst case scenarios is just so ludicrous, because they are wrong 95% of the time. And that is not a made up number. 97% of the time, those long range forecasts are completely wrong. So why do it? If you're telling me that you're doing it to help prepare people for something, really? Really? If it's wrong 98% of the time, fact, how are you actually preparing people for something? To me, it's just feeding into Chicken Little complex. Because if you know it's going to be wrong 98% of the time, those 2 other percent of the time, are you going to believe it? I argue no. So I don't know. It gets under my skin a little bit, because I truly believe you're not doing a service to anyone when you're posting that stuff. But if you're having a discussion about it, sure, that works. And, you know, there's a lot of places. My buddy Mike Boylan, on Mike's weather page, every day he has a discussion on that stuff. You know, that's what it is. It's weather. But, and by the way, for the record, Mike does not post those 12 and 14-day things out there either. I mean, there's a lot of places that do, but he doesn't. So a lot of people think I'm talking about, Mike's a buddy of mine, has been for 20 years. We display things differently, but at the end of the day, you will not see a 2-week forecast, an operational run on a responsible page. You just don't, because it's wrong 98% of the time. All right, so let us go back to, Joy had told me where, let me see, where is Joy? Wanted to know exactly where it was. I'm looking for you. 2 events to go to on the 9th and 17th, Joy. I get that, but you got to tell me where those events are. Or are you worried about the weather here? Well, the 9th will be fine here. The 17th more than likely will be as well, unless the Euro AI happens to be right, because that's about the time frame that it does bring something in our area. But again, I am not going to go on here and say, oh, okay, a storm that is now, no, a wave, no, a cluster of thunderstorms that is over Africa right now is going to impact a certain area in 14 days. That is ludicrous. Not going to do it, because it's not going to be right. Now, I told you this yesterday. I was guilty of that one time with Irma. Shouldn't have done it. it was right, but I still shouldn't have done it. Because it just, I give myself the ban button on that one. Because there's no skill in forecasting 2 weeks out. There just isn't. All you're doing is looking at the models and saying, look at what the models are showing. There's absolutely zero skill involved. So, yeah, I got to have Mike back on the show, Charlotte, when things start to settle down a little bit. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Very kind. Events are in Tampa and Crystal River. Okay, Joy, there you go. All right, Tampa, you are fine on the 9th. Crystal River and Tampa on the 17th, you are probably okay. I can't guarantee it because, again, here, look at the time frame. So if you were to look at the Euro AI, I mean, there's the 19th right there. Again, don't think it's going to be right. And the reason we can talk about this now is because we are talking about it, as opposed to just, you know, if I took this picture, if I took a close-up of this and posted it on Facebook and didn't really say much else about it, what would happen? Patty, I'm not wound up. I'm really not. But I am passionate about misinformation. That is what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about lots of things, but I'm passionate. We all see firsthand just how much fear a lot of this area goes through when a storm comes, and especially after Milton and Helene last year, right? I mean, we saw that. So I get ticked off when I see people posting stuff feeding on that fear. It angers me. It really does. So that is not Diet Dr. Pepper. That is my temper coming out when I see that. And it does. It just irritates me. All right, so flying out of Tampa on the 8th, going to Boston. Cheryl, you will be good. Rain in the evening this week at Disney. Mara, yes, you are going to be dodging raindrops pretty much every day at Disney up into this weekend. St. Augustine on the 8th to the 10th. Rain chances are going up, but I do think we switched to a southeast flow this weekend. So, Amanda, I think by then, a lot of the rain will start focusing more on the west coast. But if you're on the east coast in St. Augustine and that low center is up there, I think by then it'll be gone. So, look, August is the rainiest month of the year for Florida. Historically, August is our rainiest month, and it's the peak of the rainy season. So if anybody says, hey, what's the chance of rain on any day in August, I say, yeah, there's a chance of rain because it's Florida, and it's August. Okay, Panama City, Jessica asked, 16 to 22nd. Now, that's interesting because if that storm were to come into the Panhandle, that is the timing. But again, okay, let me be very clear about this. I would not cancel any plans or have any concerns at all about any location in the month of August in Florida. Because the odds are very low. They're not zero, but they're very low that any area will be impacted directly. If I had a trip to Panama City planned, I would no way even consider changing it. If that's the case, why do you make a plan in August at all? Because every August, there's going to be a chance of a hurricane in Panama City. Every August, every September. So if you're going to make the plans, my suggestion is you go with the plans, and then if it's a week out, then you'll know better. If it's a week out, you'll know if you need to cancel your plans. But I certainly wouldn't this far out. Leaving for Puerto Rico from Orlando on the 15th. Victoria wants to know. Okay, Eric is right. When will it rain? Answer is yes. That's correct. Okay, out of town 13th to the 20th. Should you strap things down? Kimberly, no. You do not need to do that. All right? Thank you, Gene. Appreciate it. Going to Miami, 8:15, 8:16. Robin, you should be fine. Going to Epic for the first time, Haley is. Nice. You'll be fine. I do think you'll have some afternoon thunderstorms, though. Moving the kiddo to Marathon, 14th to 18th. Carrie, I mean, look, if the Euro AI is right, then that's the 20th right there. The odds of it being right are low, but they're not zero. So Sean wants the 540 line. Sean, I'm with you, my friend. The 540 line is the freezing line for you folks who don't know. Sean is all about the freezing line. So the earliest there could be any impact on areas of Florida would be around the 18th. Let me put it that way. Nancy, how you doing? Anything before the 18th, you are totally fine. Does that make it a little easier? And then after that, we'll see what pops and what doesn't pop. Deal? Now, I'm here every day. We'll be here tomorrow, and we'll see if the numbers are any different. But up until the 18th of August, we are fine, and we're probably fine longer than that. But the models are picking up on what they should be, which is mid-August through the end of September. We're usually dodging hurricanes, right? We usually are. Will you be okay, Kevin wants to know if you'll be okay visiting St. Martin the 15th to the 19th. Look, Kevin, I cannot guarantee that you will not have a storm. All right, I'll show you. Look. And this is just one model run, but you're asking. So here's the 15th. And there's the islands down here. All right, there they are. There's the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. I mean, there it is. So yeah, I mean, I cannot tell you you absolutely will be without a storm. I can't do it. I can say it, Florida won't until later on. That's the Euro AI. Look at the GFS. GFS in the same time frame, it's got something a little more to the north of the islands, but it's still close. It's still a trackable figure. So see what I'm saying? So the GFS is more north, the Euro AI is more south, but it does have something in the vicinity of the islands at that point. And as I said, it really depends on whether it's strong or not. The stronger the storm, the farther north it will go. The weaker the storm, the farther west it will go. So, and again, let's be honest. When you booked a vacation in St. Martin in the middle of August, you knew there's a chance of a hurricane. And I'm not saying there's going to be one. I am not. But let's be honest. Anybody who books the Caribbean from mid-August to the end of September knows they're taking a chance, right? And it's worth the risk many times. A lot of times you get cheaper fares, especially with cruises. The fares for cruises in September are dirt cheap because it's the peak of the hurricane season and people don't want to take a chance. But you do know that that chance does exist. Any weather thoughts on Jacksonville Saturday night? Wendy wants to know that. All right, you know what? Let's look. And see, this is a short-term forecast. So this is one that's going to be more accurate. Let's look at the GFS through, I mean, that's just typical, that's typical summertime stuff. It is going to rain on Saturday. It is going to rain on Sunday. It is going to be very humid. But it at least is not an organized tropical system. Okay? That is that. So yeah, I don't see any, I mean, look, we're going to have afternoon and evening storms each and every day, even a little more than that starting Thursday as that moisture comes in. But it's the rainiest season. It's Florida, it's the rainiest season, and it's the rainiest month in the rainy season. It's going to rain, right? Anything you have planned outdoors, especially afternoon and evening, so for the football game, the odds are there's at least a chance you're going to get some rain. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Judy. Appreciate it. Zach works on the water, needs to prepare for these storms. What are the odds, even if we don't get a direct hit, that we have some impacts on the systems being tracked? All right, Zach. I'll give you a number. Less than 10%. I think less than 10%. Yeah. I think that's a fair number. Next week, it might be up. But if you were to pin me down and say, right now, what are the odds of a system that's in Africa impacting us in Florida or nearby? I would say it's less than 10%. But Sometimes I might say less than 1%. I'm not. I'm saying less than 10%. There is a chance. Absolutely. I just showed you two models that bring a storm into Florida. The GFS and the Euro AI both bring a storm into Florida in the next 2 weeks. In fact, let's look at the regular Euro. I mean, right there, that should tell you a lot, okay? I'm looking at the operational runs. We all know they're inaccurate, but Melvin is correct. So we're all, the Saharan dust is not gone, Ken. We actually showed that a few minutes ago. So here's the GFS, all right? That brings in something into Florida on the 17th. It's just the GFS. It's a long ways out, not operational run. I'm not posting it. But my point is I'm showing you different models. Here's the Euro AI, all right? The Euro AI brings a storm close to Florida by the 18th, 19th, 20th, all right? There's another one. All right, let's go ahead and call up the European model. Non-AI. Let's look at that one. So you see what I'm saying here? This is not a forecast, but it would be crazy to sit here and say, oh, well, it's not going to happen. There's no chance, because there is a chance. I'm showing you that there's a chance. All right, here's the Euro, 12Z, add it. All right, so let's call up the non-AI Euro. No, it took the 18Z. I don't want that. Oceans, Atlantic. Okay, there we go. So here's the Euro. It's kind of a crazy view. I didn't do the Mercator view. All right, so let's see what the Euro is showing. No, it's the GFL. It's giving me issues here. All right, here's the Euro, allegedly. It has to load up first, though. Come on. This is the GFS. We already looked at the GFS, so we'll get rid of the GFS. I'd rather look at the other view. I'd rather look at the Mercator view. So let's go back. Euro, 12Z, Oceans, Mercator. $16 days. Add. Okay, there we go. Here's what the Euro shows. Watch, it didn't even work. Yeah, it's some bad data obviously coming in. Why is I having such trouble with this? See if it starts to kick in toward the end. No, it's definitely some. Okay, there we go. It's kicking in now. All right, so this is the 16th, 17th, and you look in the Caribbean. Look in the Northern Caribbean, people. That brings it into Belize. Or actually, no, that's like Cozumel. Maybe Belize. So there you go. You've got, but this is my point. The Euro goes into Central America. The AI goes closer to Florida. The GFS goes earlier, but closer to Florida. So all of this area right in here, the models are honing in on that there's going to likely be a tropical storm somewhere in there from maybe the 17th to the 20th. To the 20th. Yoop. Trying to write with the mouse, it's hard. So there you go. So anybody who's asking me, can there be something in there? It absolutely can. Every model is showing that possibility. Now, could the models be wrong? Of course they could. We know more often than not, 10, 12, 13, 14 days out, they are wrong. But you're asking me if, so he says there's a chance, all right? That's where we're going. Anna Maria, I don't even know what that means. I'm not talking to myself or yakking to myself. No, I'm just, Anna Maria, be careful. And by the way, she gave me this ban button. So wouldn't that be funny? Would that not be funny if I banned the person who gave me the ban button for just this stream? What if it lets me do that? See, I'm not in a playing mood, Anna Maria. I was all yakking to myself thing. Wait a minute. Banned from stream, banned from page, banned from all live streams. I can't ban her. Oh, but gosh. You know what? You guys answer it for me. You guys tell me, okay? What should I do? Should I just not do anything because Anna Maria gave me this button? Or should I ban her from this live stream? Anna Maria's like, no. Yeah, Denise says no, can't do it. Yeah, Debbie's like, yeah. So it's 3-1 in your favor, Anna Maria. They do have a block button too. Nope, most people are saying no. Okay, all right. Mary's like, get real, Dennis. She ain't. Oh, now see, Mary sounds like she's challenging me to do it. Mary's like, get real, Dennis. You ain't gonna ban Anna Maria. Well, see, now that's like, I can't do it. But Mary almost got me to do it because you're gonna call me out to do something, you know I'm gonna do it. That's just the way I am. That's part of my DNA. That is me. Ren, how you doing? Okay, yes, that is the pot stirring part of me. Okay, wait a minute. I know she was kidding, guys. I know. But I don't like the word yakking. Maybe that's just a Jersey thing because she's from Jersey. You know, yakking. Anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about. What were we talking about? There was somebody who had a question about a cruise in the Bahamas, I believe. Yes. Brandy, cruise to your Bahamas the 16th to the 19th, all right? Well, here. Let's see. Okay? What did this map show? All right, there's that, all right? Where's the Bahamas? Right there. So is there, has right there, has a tropical storm over the Bahamas on the 16th. So my suggestion, if the GFS is right, bring Dramamine, okay? No, actually, that's a 991. That's probably that's a tropical storm. Again, guys, it's, how many days is that? That's 11 days out. I mean, that's just too much. But you understand what I'm saying. It's not a ban simulator, Dylan. It will ban. Wait a minute. I did not mute myself, unless my mic died. No, my mic's not dead. Test, test, test. No, I'm still here. Okay, let's go back. So, but I'm curious because we do have somebody who's actually been working on these computers and doing some stuff. So are you saying you can't hear me? Don't ban the hand that feeds you. Ryan, that's a good one. Lori says she's from Jersey and never uses the Y word. Up cruise the 25th to the 29th, Betty wants to know. Now, yes, there's a chance. It's 4 weeks away, 3 weeks away. So yes, there's a chance. But the models actually aren't really showing that. I'm back. I wonder if it went away. Hold on. Stand by, guys. I'm going to try this because now we're in test mode. See if you can still hear me on this one. Okay, can you hear me? Yes, I'm seeing a level. See, if somebody's computer doesn't work or their phone cuts out and then they say it's me, but I don't think it is because I can see this and it looks fine. I think I'm seeing audio levels. It all looks good. Let me try this one. I don't know, the computer is getting a little funky on me. Needs a reboot. Anyway, it looks like it's okay. All right. Cruising to Aruba on Saturday. Next week, how are you looking? Jody wants to know how you're looking. Let's see. GFS. Track is north of you guys. You'll be fine. Whatever's out there will be north of Aruba. was temporary, though. I wonder why. That's very strange. Hey again, how you doing? So yeah, you'll be good in Aruba. You got no worries. Susan, I can hear you too. It froze for, it might just be internet. Yeah, it might be internet. That's how precarious this show is. We're on internet here. And if the internet goes, it just all falls apart. I mean, we've got a little PC here operating this, right? Got a couple other PCs that were breaking yesterday. We take any kind of power hit. Any of those things go wrong, I'm off the air. So the fact that we've actually stayed on as long as we have on broadcast without it blowing up in my face is truly miraculous. And oh, by the way, want to let you guys know, I trained, kind of, sort of, Shay Ryan to handle this because I have a function I have to do on August 20th. If we have a hurricane or something nearby, obviously I won't be able to do that. But I have a function August 20th. So Shay will be here for me. So Shay might do SRL coming up a couple of times. She's not real thrilled about it. I'm not going to lie, because there's lots of buttons to press, but she's a trooper and she's going to go and she's going to do it anyway. So anyway, we will see how that works out. I have to write her down, like every button to press and all these kind of things. Yeah. Where do I go on cruises, Nancy? I go on lots. I've gone on pretty much all of them. I've been on Margaritaville, Carnival, Royal. Actually, those three. Those are the three that I've gone on. And I told her that you guys would be helping her because she's worried about commercial breaks. I'm like, no, Shay, you've got 1,000 producers out there virtually. They will ask you questions. They will make sure that you fill the time. It'll all be good. I said, you guys are the best, and you are. Forecast going great in Dunellen, close to Ocala. I'm not sure what that means. Let me see. I'm looking at everybody. Bridget, I'm not ignoring you. Are you able to see the track of... I can't call up Irma right now. I would. Yeah, last time I didn't get sick, Jason, I don't think. But you're right. It's happened a lot. Yeah, Ryan, you're right. Shay used to work on Channel 5 in New York. You are correct, before she was here. How's midweek looking? Going to Switzerland out of Tampa. Marcus, you are good. You have no worries. You know what? Look, I'm not a bougie guy, so I don't need high... Some people go on vacations because they want to be bougie, and that's great. Some people go because they want to have, whatever. People have personal preferences. For me, when I go, I just like to go because all my family's together, and I get to see everybody, and we're all in a tight quarters, so I see my whole family, right? So, I've gone on Margaritaville, and I loved it. And I went on Royal, and I loved it. And I went on Carnival, and I loved it. I've totally enjoyed all of the above. Margaritaville is a cruise out of Tampa, so you don't have, it's not an Oasis-class ship, so it's not a big, giant ship like Oasis of the Seas and Allure and Harmony and Symphony, those big ones for Royal, which I've done those, and they're fun. They're awesome, too. But I know a lot of people who kind of, over the months I've seen, they question whether Margaritaville, because it's a lot less expensive than the others. Let me tell you, I loved it. Rooms were nice. People were great. I had a great time. So, all right, what else we got? Flying from Tampa on the 20th to New Jersey. Can't answer that, Nicole. Remember? Here's why. Because of this. Don't know. Can't answer it yet. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's right, Tyler. Oasis class cannot fit under the Skyway. That's why out of Tampa, if we had a port on the other side of the Skyway, then they'd be able to have the giant cruise ships in our area. But they don't fit under the Skyway. And there was talk about that. Years ago, I remember there was talk about moving a port or having a port in St. Pete on the other side of the Skyway so you could get those Oasis-class ships. I don't think that ever happened. Clearly it never happened. But I don't know. I've thoroughly enjoyed when I've gone on Margaritaville. I did. I've gone twice, actually. Brunch on Saturday in Clearwater. Should we go indoors? 2 a.m., Benjamin. They're updated every 6 hours. No, I don't think you should go indoors. I mean, what time? Oh, brunch. So late morning, early afternoon. Yeah, I would not, look, there will be more rain on Saturday, but it's still going to be scattered. But yeah, late morning, early afternoon is a dicey time. But I do think, I'm thinking out loud, I'm yakking to myself, Anna Maria. As I'm thinking out loud here, we should have a transition to a southeast flow by then. So that would mean most of the rain would be later in the afternoon or in the evening. So I say don't cancel and go for it. That's what I say. Is that it? I think that's about it. So, guys, we'll have updates tomorrow. We'll see if the models change. We'll see if there's more consensus. Usually the way it works is the closer you get to the event, the more agreement you'll get with the models. Makes a lot of sense, right? This 10 or 11-day forecast is extremely challenging. In fact, it's going to be wrong way more often than right, which is why we like to show these maps instead, the ensembles. Because the ensembles are not just one solution, they are a series of solutions, which gives you more of a good idea of where potential, like if the ensembles showed if they were all like in this area, you know, if they were all tightly clustered, then you would have more faith in what's going to happen. But when they are literally the entire Caribbean, Gulf, and the Western Atlantic, there's no consensus at all, and they're useless. Other than the fact, I take that back, other than the fact that they are showing development, and quite a bit of it. So this would lead us to believe, as this shows, which is the new Climate Prediction Center's forecast, right? There is a high probability of development in this area from the 13th to the 19th. And then the following week, there's another one right behind it. So, I mean, guys, look, we're going to get it. What about September 27th in Atlanta? Maddie, how's it going, man? I do think it's going to ramp up, Nancy. I absolutely do. So if this is what the Euro AI is looking at, clearly, this one. And the Climate Prediction Center is showing it as well. Happy birthday, Debbie. Happy birthday. Going out of cruise of Tampa on the 15th. Again, Will, I'll show you again. This is the 15th to the 19th to the 20th. So that area that I have circled right there is probably, Benjamin, I respond to everybody here. You come on back. You have questions, as long as I see them, I will do my best. But yeah, that area circled, there's a pretty decent chance there will be a tropical system in that area between the 17th and the 20th. That's the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the Western Atlantic. Pretty good chance. Anything more than that, no idea. No, Lori, do not cancel anything on the 27th. No, Nicole, you are absolutely not. No, I mean, even though I'm showing you this map, remember, the odds are still 10% or less that any area is going to be impacted directly by anything. So I would not cancel. No, you guys know better. If you're a Floridian, you know better. You don't cancel your plans 2 weeks in advance when we're talking about tropical possibilities. You just don't, because the odds are they're going to change direction 50 times, which is why showing that 12 to 14-day operational run and posting it on social is so ridiculous, because it's wrong. The number is literally 97% of the time. 12 days out, 97% of the time. What kind of credibility do you have if you're posting that and you want, I mean, come on. So anyway, that is about it, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Yes, Susan, you should cancel your pedicure on the 17th. That one, I do believe, is a wise move on your part. So you guys have a good night. Tomorrow we'll see where we are. This is going to be a nightly thing right on through the rest of hurricane season, because every night we are going to have something to track. And every night we'll be talking about the possibilities. And every night you will ignore everything that I said and ask if your cruise is going to have to be canceled or whatever, because that's just the way this works. And that's okay too, because we've been doing this for a long, long time. All right? So you guys have a good night. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7:30. I say it again, watch on TV, follow on social, and you'll see the graphics way bigger, so that works better. And you can follow on Facebook on your phone, but you can still see on OTA, channel 66.1, if you have an antenna. Again, you just buy one of those little antennas right from Amazon or Walmart. It's got a little plug. It plugs into your TV. You go to where it says antenna on your TV, and you hit it, and it will scan all the channels for free. And not only will you get to watch Dennis Phillips live, but you'll see all Tampa Bay Lightning games this year for free. And that is awesome. That is the silver lining to this cloud. We are now the broadcast home of the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right? You guys have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. We'll see you guys.